Welcome back, Tribe. I have an episode here from Chris Williamson. It says, ex-pickup artist reacts to modern dating advice.
Are you familiar with LMS? Do you know what that is?
No.
Looks, money, status.
Wait, it makes sense. Okay.
So it's the triage priority list that a lot of guys in the black pill movement rely on and say is most important. Looks is most important, then money, then status.
For men?
Yes, for men. What's your thoughts?
My thoughts is it's a sad way to think. It's a sad way to think. I guess like I'm just kind of thinking out loud. I got a bunch of thoughts on the stuff you're saying. But to speak back to your what you were saying about what it's like to be someone, I think mostly we're all living out our own stories of what it's like. And I think like if you choose to see the best in people, you're going to notice the best behavior. If you choose to see the worst in people, you're going to notice the worst behavior. And I think it starts with the eyes you're seeing the world through. And so down to looks, money, status, I think they got it wrong. I think that
I would agree.
I think that there's that, and how would they define status? I guess I'll ask.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be too sure.
I would have argued in favor of status, money, looks last is how women rate men.
Guess something like popularity.
Right. So I would say it's high status behavior. And I mean, I know this because I went and hacked it in the game, right? As a guy who is not that good looking, as a guy like who, at least at that time, didn't have any wasn't someone recognized, didn't have status, didn't have money, didn't have looks, didn't have fame. We realized, and I also was a guy who, once I wrote the game, I had the people with the most looks, the most money, the most status, calling me like this fucking 5'6" big nose, dude who keeps saying, and can't even articulate a really clean sentence, calling me for advice. The same shit I thought I was alone dealing with, they were dealing with the same thing. And I think it really goes down to like how you're the story you tell yourself more than money, looks, and status, and then how you reflect that story. As a simple example, I've seen a lot of people with money, looks, and status engage in low status behaviors.
Yeah, he's talking about like beta things like being constantly jealous, insecure around your woman, trying to flaunt really hard and buy people's love, trying to name drop yourself all the time and how powerful and how well known and how well connected you are, instead of it letting like all your status, all your wealth, all of this stuff just roll off of you by simply existing, by people around you treating you differently, like you're the man, instead of having to constantly tell people you're the man. You can see how a real boss moves and how the people behave around him just by looking at them versus the guy who has to scream at the top of his lungs that he's a boss, he's got money, and if you have all three of these, or just the two, if you have the status and you have the money, you don't even need the looks, but it doesn't matter having these two. If you behave like a beta, you will be seen as a beta. At most, you'll be a novelty, like a woman will have sex with you simply because like, holy shit, this guy's super wealthy, or holy shit, this guy's super famous. And it's like a notch on their belt, something in the bucket list. I smashed a famous person, something like that. A woman will do that in a one night out escapade just to say, that's the most famous person I smashed. And acts like a complete beta. It happened with that comedian. I forgot who it was. He's like Indian, I think. He slept with a girl. I think he performed bad in bed. Something happened. Then he started apologizing profusely and just apologizing up a storm. Complete beta behavior. She already had a hard crush on him, wanted to sleep with him, had built up in her head like a concoction of him being like this alpha male comedian that like can make people laugh. He's so comfortable on stage and he must be so cool and surrounded by so many people. Brought over to his place and it was like the complete opposite. Dude was a total loser aside from the fame and the wealth that his comedy would bring him. And then eviscerated him in the media. Basically made him out to be like a grapeist, if I'm not mistaken, or something very strange. I don't even remember what that story, Aziz Ansari was it? Or I don't know. I don't keep up with many of this culture shit, only when it's relevant.
Meaning being insecure, being doubtful, not carrying themselves well, not speaking, just always being worried about what others thinking about them.
Exactly.
Whatever those gained for them, they lost it. There's like a troubadour poem that's something about when they were first sort of talking about making romance into art, in that era, that's like the eyes go forth to seek an image which they can then recommend to the heart. And so I think the money, looks, and status might get your foot in the door. But after that, it's who you are that enables you to stay in that door. unless you're dealing with someone who has similarly low self-esteem, right? And is just out there looking for a target who has those things because they've got their own wounds. They feel like that gives them safety.
I think
let's go. Sorry, go ahead.
Just one of the interesting reflections that a lot of friends who maybe in the early 2010s were trying to do game and pickup and day game and stuff like that, what they realized was they became quite disenchanted, I think, with the world of dating because they saw what they needed to do in order to be attractive to women and then realized the distance that was from who they really were or what they thought they needed to do in order to be attractive to women, and realized that I can get what I want, but what I want doesn't actually see me. And that distance between the two of I'm having to tell them about the midget fight outside and do my Kino escalation and ignore and do all the rest of the stuff, that I think caused a lot of them to
also how methodical it is. When I was doing the day came and the pickup stuff and I was in college and I was trying to find the same story, man, trying to find out what works and just constantly experimenting with girls and, every single night experimenting. Every single day we had a pool party event or kickback, and just seeing what works, when your shirt's off, when your shirt's on, at the pool, at the club, how drunk you got to get, what kind of stories you tell, yada, 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 right? Have the clothes you're wearing, had outfits at night that for some reason I had this like light gray, kind of like a shirt like this, just light gray, man, silvery almost, like with a sheen to it, but it was a dress shirt. And it rolled up my sleeves like very tight and it like my veins were popping out and it just fit really well. I got laid the most in that shirt, and a drunk chick actually ripped that shirt. My friend's drunk girlfriend. She got like Gorilla Grip Strength ex-girlfriend on a coke bender, ripped my freaking shirt saying hi. Anyways, missed that shirt, undefeated in that shirt. But seeing how methodical you can get with it and the responses that women give you back are cookie cutter. You look at a girl, here's what happens, and you think she's attractive, and you hope in your mind, I hope this one's different. I hope she's not the same bozo that falls for the same thing. X her out of your mind for something serious. Go up to the next woman, and it doesn't have to be at the bar, man. This could be at the grocery store. This could be meeting mutually through friends. This can be completely different places. And you use the same game and the same techniques and whatever, manipulation, whatever you want to call this shit, just courting, seducing, whatever the name you want to use for it. When you're talking to women and every single thing works, and she could be bottom of the barrel, I work at McDonald's, or a barista, to like, I'm a doctor and I perform surgery on people, or a high-powered attorney, or it doesn't matter the education levels and how much life experience. When you see that the same shit constantly works and to an extreme and it's always successful, and you just start thinking, here's the part where it gets messed up. If I can do this, any other guy like me can do this. I can take another guy's girl the same way I took that guy's girl. I can go out, and if I see a woman that says, I have a boyfriend, or has a ring on, but she's with her single friends in the club, she's game. You don't belong in the club. If you're happy in your relationship, you would have been at home with your man. You're out there with the single girlfriends, all the hoes that want attention from men, and you revel in the attention. You may either just give out your number. Nothing needs to happen that night. Or you may fall on a meat stick sooner or later. The fact that men are approaching you and you're putting yourself in that environment as a woman who's in a committed relationship is an automatic red flag. Guys have no idea you've been sold a lie, being told that it's okay, don't worry, don't be insecure, you can trust me, right? How about your partner says, I'm in a committed relationship, I would never go out to these places and put myself in a compromised position for strange men to get the idea to come up to me and hit on me. Especially, you got a ring on, it doesn't matter. You're at the nightclub. People go there for a reason. You go to a bar at night, your woman's coming home late, 2 a.m, shit like that. Come on, man. A lot of this shit is common sense. You got to trust your gut. So many guys have had the like masculinity beat out of them from society to so fucking feminine. They can't even speak to their own women and draw boundaries because they're afraid of the backlash of the dead bedroom. Congratulations, bro. She gives you maintenance sex once a month. She's still pumping dudes like me back in college. You're still sitting there going, I avoided that fight. I don't feel comfortable with her going out dressed like that. And she never dresses like that when we go out. And, well, she said she's going to be back by 2 a.m. and nothing can happen. She's getting railed out in the bathroom stalls, in the parking lot, in the dude's car, in the VIP. Her girlfriends, I've seen this shit happen. I've seen it where girlfriends are egging her on and filming the videos. They have a wild night out with some dude in VIP who's loaded and is bringing bottle after bottle, and they're getting tipsy and getting absolutely messed up, and Uber brought me home, or I fell asleep at Ashley's house, babe. We just felt so terrible. We had too many shots. It got crazy. We had to leave. There's so many. It was so crowded. So many dudes was just hitting on me. We just couldn't get a night to ourselves. No shit, Shirley. You're at a nightclub.
Become very disenfranchised and disenchanted with the world of dating.
Yeah, I think, I mean, a couple thoughts and to go back. So again, these are like the stories we tell ourselves. Like, I think that there's a learning process, and maybe you learn.
Oh, part 2 of that, where he said how you see people. This is the damage men take from this. Women can't bond anymore, but men can't see women as pure anymore. When you undergo this like fuckboy phase and you sleep with hundreds of women, and you start to see what works, what doesn't, how women respond to men, that's where I developed the right guy, right time, right place. Your woman can be taken if those conditions are met. If you're already an attractive male, then you have the right guy already checked permanently in life, wherever you are. It just takes the right time in the right place. So your woman going out to a nightclub with her single friends is the right time, is the right place, and God forbid she feels bored. God forbid you guys had an argument earlier in the week that she's holding on to, or things are a little rocky in the relationship, or she's been wanting to do something because it's gotten a bit stale. She feels a little bored, or her single girlfriends, are stray hoes. Birds of a feather flock together. And she's hanging out with these wild single chicks, and your girlfriend's just telling you all the stories of like, oh my God, Ashley's so crazy. She went out and just got DP'd by some strange dudes, and that girl's way too wild. And your woman's hanging out with this girl at the nightclub. Right time, right guy, right place. You don't think there's a dude over there that's just going to make her absolutely soaking wet by looking at some absolute Chad Tyrone built dude, 6'5", just prowling the clubs, just smashing and passing? Your girl is about to get her guts rearranged, and you're at home with the kid, being a good old little husband. That mentality can mess you up. I'm telling you, you can meet a good girl, and you can become so jaded by the fact that you participated and seen so many of these things. Ask any dude that's ever been successful in pickups, getting laid, womanizing, fuck boy phases, whatever it is you want to call them these days, and what the kids call it these days. A lot of these guys, man, get so bitter that they can't see a good woman for what she is, and inevitably destroy every decent relationship they have because trust issues. Men get the trust issues, and women get destroyed pair bonding ability. She can't even attach to men because men are dirty pigs, and all they want is one thing. That's their damage. When a woman tells you like, men are disgusting, men are gross, men are dirty pigs, I hate men, it's because she gets pumped up, bro. It's all the bodies she's had accumulated in her mind of all the time she got used. She wishes she could take them back. She probably was feeling down on herself. She probably had some low self-esteem and was behaving in ways she wouldn't behave now at the moment that she's with you. But she did anyways. And the damage is there and present. That's why I tell you guys, self-awareness, self-esteem, all that shit is super important to the present day version of the person you're meeting. And that's key. The present day version of the person you're meeting. Because you can meet some chick that's done zero work and is in that cycle of damage, and you're going to get chewed up and spit out. And you're going to deal with all the trauma that she's about to put on you. But if you meet someone who has no trauma, has no damage, or at least is aware of their trauma and their damage and has done work and fixed it and become a completely different person, like you couldn't even recognize them if they told you stories about their past selves and who they are now, had a complete change. Usually it takes a rock bottom for people to have this transformation. But if you meet these people, they're also good because they're highly aware, they've done the work, and they don't repeat these. But most people are walking in the cycle today until death. Most people are behaving in ways they don't even understand, and it has everything to do with their past traumas, their actions, and everything they've experienced with the opposite gender. You can usually spot women, and they got the name Thousand Cocks there. It's there. Every guy can see it. It's a look.
If I look back on the game, there's so many different issues around it, negative and positive and everything else. But I see it as a lot of sort of neurodivergent people trying to learn how to socially interact, including myself, right?
Yep.
And so for me, I needed those little, I didn't know, just tell me what to say and like how to angle my body. I was so uncomfortable around people. And then once I learned it, then I could let it go the same way you learn anything, which is sort of learning the rules and then throwing them out.
Yep.
So second, I got 3 points to make. Again, these topics are so interesting, right? Second thought is that another perspective on the LMS thing you said, which the second perspective is people don't know what they want. So what they want are the things behind that. So a way to think about, for example, it used to really hurt my self-esteem when I read personal ads and everyone wanted a guy who was 6 feet and taller. How tall are you?
5'10".
Okay, that's great, right? I'm 5'6", maybe 5'6.5" at a stretch, right? And it took me a long time to realize that it wasn't height that they were looking for. What they were looking for was safety. I want to feel when maybe what does money represent? Money represents that some degree of security,
Competence,
and competence. That was the word I was looking for. Exactly, competence. So if you look at the reasons underneath these, and you embody the reasons underneath these, which anybody can do, the other stuff doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think that's where the sort of disenchantment came from, which was not feeling like...
The thing is, height gives you default security, but if you're a short dude, you have to show your proclivity for security. You have to have the bad boy look. You may have to know martial arts. You may have to know like weapons training. You have to live a kind of, life on the edge lifestyle where you're doing wild shit and you're surrounded by wild men and you're running with a crew that's highly respected. And, you got to do like extra stuff in order for that safe energy to just overpower I'm 5'6". Because most interactions happen at surface level. She just looks at you up and down. There's nothing, no pre-selecting, no seeing your crazy lifestyle, no getting to, no. She just sees like tall, short, okay, tall, safe. That's it. So you have to have extremes on the other side to make up for it. It's extra work, but that's the rules of the game.
Like you had the actual foundation, realizing that you could create the glitzy sort of mystique. Like you do not need to see how much money I have. You do not need to see how much money I have. And then going, oh, I can get what I want by pretending to play this game. And deep down, I still don't feel like I'm worthy of it. I don't think that they see me. What they see is this persona.
As soon as you're saying, I don't want you to know how little money I have, you're like that influencer we were talking about earlier who's promoting a vegan diet while eating meat for dinner. You're creating a split in yourself. So here's the other thing you were talking about is, I think these people you're talking about, the concept of locus of control. Like there's external locus of control and internal locus of control. And I'm probably going to get these wrong. So apologies if I do. So the idea is like, are the things that are happening to me the fault of others outside myself, which is a nice thing to believe, right? It's just women are like that, thus I'm opting out. Men are like that, thus I'm just not dealing with that. The world, and so we're just saying we're creating this, it's everybody else's fault, so I don't have to change. I can just hate on them, right? Or B, the way I am and the way I think you are is that like, this is going on. How can I do better? How can I change? How can I be better? How can I understand? How can I be empathic? And like, it's a lot more work, but man, you're a lot happier.
Yeah, I think the benefit, from the cynic's perspective, the benefit of never trying is never having to feel the pain of failure. I came up with this idea called the cynicism safety blanket, which is basically that. That's why it exists. It's sour grapes at an existential level.
Yeah, and so I notice myself, if I ever start to, and I don't even do this anymore because I stopped it, like if I ever start thinking something negatively about someone who's successful, and start comparing their work to mine and why mine, I just stop instantly. And I just think, what can I learn from that for myself? And again, most of your listeners, I feel like are learning, growth-minded people.
Correct.
But I think we can understand that there's certain people, and I've come across them, that if somebody is doing better than you, you can either try to do better or you can try to bring them down to your level. And that's a split in the world. But the people who try to bring them down are the loud voices right now in the culture.
Correct.
I agree 100% with that take. I've naturally had this awe of successful people and always wanting to be like them and always wondering how they got in the positions they did and trying to learn. I never had envy for successful people, only respect and admiration. I've had friends that absolutely hate on any ounce of success, anybody, even in the friend group. Something minor, forget famous, rich, wealthy, powerful people. Just even in the friend group, these people will bring you down, tear you down to their level. It's because of their insecurity. Their egos are extremely fragile. They live with this every single day, thinking they don't amount to nothing, that they're failures. And anybody succeeding within their immediate vicinity is a direct attack on that, on their greatest insecurity of them being failures. Because look at what this person is achieving. And it hurts extra because this person's right next to me. It's not some famous person I can detach from. If Bob here, Ted here next to me is managing these things, is getting successful, what the fuck is wrong with me? And so they bring you down. Be careful having guy friends like this in your group. They will actually zap the absolute energy out of you to do anything. The motivation, the discipline, all of it. They just want to tear it all down, be stuck at the bottom, crabs in a bucket mentality, and never want to change and do any better because they're afraid of failure. Cut those people out of your life immediately. And we'll read this comment, or a couple actually. He's a great writer and the game was a great book. What was most shocking in the book was despite developing the skill to get any woman, he picked up horrible feminist in the end. Someone wrote, your dream woman doesn't have to be his. Neil Strauss is talking about a period in which 20 to 25 years ago, which is like an eon in modern standards. That's also true. World has changed unimaginably compared to late 1990s, early 2000s. Most of the things which worked those days have no relevance now. Growth of internet, social media, smartphones, apps, digital economy, changes in human ideologies and behaviors, etc., have changed the dating game big time. I tend to agree with that one. The day game stuff still works. Interpersonal communication, all of those basics, the keynote, touching, all that stuff, push, pull, yada, yada. That works no matter what, because that's human interaction, basic, like 101 at a fundamental level. But some of the things have been tainted by technology, social media, dating apps. In some ways, they work more now because people have become such recluses and socially awkward. In other ways, they don't work as well. I think if you're an attractive man today, and you employ those old techniques and are bold and approach women out in public, it'll be a breath of fresh air because there's no real men left that approach them anymore. But if you're an ugly dude, the response back is 10 times as sharp, way worse. So a lot of men don't even bother trying because a lot of men aren't in the top percentile. And that's the brutal truth. Let me know what you guys think. I'll see you on the next one.